foundation of 100%. What I do know is that, and we talk about this a lot on our sales calls, where it's mostly sales directors and some executive directors. And I know today's call, we have a lot of our community leaders and a lot of our support team leaders on this call. And it takes everyone to grow a community to 100%. It is not one single person. It's not one single job function. It takes a village, and I've seen it happen, and it is so fun to be a part of that ride. And whether you're sitting today as a new community just starting that climb, or maybe you're in a community where you're sitting at that 65, 70% mark and you're thinking, we are never going to get out of this slump, or maybe you climbed up and slid back, I promise you it can be done when we all work together. And one of the things that we've seen put in place over the past few months are a lot of different, whether it's programs or processes or whatever it is, things that will help us build a solid foundation to get there. And one of those things is the First Connect team. And I wanted to talk about that for just a minute, because I think most of you have heard it, but I wanted to be sure that you know who they are, and what they do and why they do it. And the First Connect team, we have 6 different team members. I see Lori's face on the call. I don't know if you want to wave. I'm kind of scoping around looking for others. We have 6 team members. And just so you know, you'll all be getting a little printout that has their faces on it and their names. And I'll explain that in just a minute. But they receive all of our incoming digital leads. And the reason for that, speed to lead matters. We know that in our industry, the quicker we respond to people who have reached out for information, the more likely they are to move in with us, and the better we are able to help them and really support them in their journey. And so why do we need a First Connect team to do this? And the main purpose behind that is that speed to lead, so that we can free up our sales directors to spend time in their database, nurturing leads that we already have, and out in the community building referral relationships. And so there's a massive investment in this team, and also a massive purpose and a really big expected outcome. And their goal is to send tours into your communities as quickly as possible and increase our lead to tour conversion rate. So just wanted to give you that background. Like I said, you'll be getting a printout to post. I would want to really encourage every community on this call to make sure that your your first impressions, concierge, front desk, that team of people, that they know who these First Connect team members are. Because when prospects call back the community and they say, oh, I've been talking with Lori, I've had a couple of conversations, and then your team doesn't know who she is, we want to be sure that our right and left hands know each other and know what we're doing. We're one team, one mission. And so want to build that together with you guys. Last week on our sales call, we asked the question of sales directors, what happens when a tour walks in your community? And it was so beautiful to hear the responses and the pictures painted. I could just envision what it would be like walking into so many of your communities, and how warmly our families are greeted, how they're escorted through the community, how people meet them. And what I can tell you hands down is that your sales directors are selling you. They talk to families about the people and about our teams and about our programs that we offer, but more often than not, what they're talking about is the team members. And I know firsthand that's what matters most. I also shared last week on the call the tour experience that I had with my mother. It was just the week before, or it was the day before, maybe 3 days before the call. And frankly, it wasn't a good experience. I had taken my mother to tour a community, and she met no one. And it was really sad. And when we finally encountered a resident, the team there was letting the resident walk away without introducing her to my mother. And it was hard. It was hard to experience that firsthand. What's really interesting is you fast forward a week later to yesterday, my neighbor took his mom to the exact same community and had a completely different experience. His mom was with him. They had lunch at the community. She met multiple team members and she met multiple residents. And guess what she's doing next week? She's moving into that community. And here's my mom, who is a very social and active person, and she's talking about moving in with me. So we've got to have more conversations because we're not doing that. So what happens when a family walks into your community? Which of those two experiences do they receive? Same community, two completely different experiences and two completely different outcomes within 1 week. I find it fascinating. I find it absolutely fascinating. And then the second question that we asked, and I'm presenting this to all of you, is what happens when a tour comes into your community and your sales director is not there? What happens then? What experience does the person receive? And you'll be hearing a lot about this over the coming months as we talk about building out a backup brigade and making sure that you really have, and some of you really already have this, you have it locked down, you could train it, you could talk about it all day long. And others, we just have some work to do, and it's okay to say that, and that's what we're here to help you do. But to build up that backup team so that when somebody walks into your community, either unexpectedly or so the First Connect team can schedule tours any day of the week, anytime. And you have this backup brigade in place so that people visiting your community get the same experience that my neighbor's mom received and is now moving into that community next week. So there's a lot more to come over the coming months on First Connect, how we continue building that up, how we continue supporting you all and making sure you have every tool possible to be successful, and how we help build up your backup brigade. So that's all I've got today, David. Thanks for a few minutes.
Hey, thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to that mission 100%, right? Every single one of these communities has that ability to do that, and
that's right.
That's what we have this year to look forward to. So thank you. I appreciate it. So isn't it just incredible, really, how the start of every single new year fills us with this like urge to just like plan and promise ourselves like all sorts of achievements. But I'll be honest with you. How often do we stick with those? I'll be honest with you. I've set so many of them, right? And every year it seems like I get like a little bit, into it, and then it falls to the wayside, right? And what if there was a way to like change that, right? What if 2025 could be the year that you're not only able to set those goals, but achieve them too, right? Today we're incredibly blessed to have someone among us who's not just like a dreamer, but a doer, someone who transforms their plans into reality. And I'm talking about Aleshia Moyamba, who's our amazing senior marketing operations manager here at PVL. And Aleshia, I got to share a little story. Aleshia reached out to me proactively, and I can still remember the conversation, and it was like 3 months ago, and she was bursting with a ton of ideas, and we wound up settling on January, right? What a perfect month for Aleshia. And Aleshia was like that kid in the classroom, right? That you just gave an assignment to, and you're like, hey, you got 2 weeks to get this done, right? And the student comes walking in the next day with this like polished version of a report ready to hand it in. That's Aleshia, right? So it's been amazing to work with her. And for those that have not met Aleshia or haven't worked with Aleshia too often, I want to paint you a picture, right? She's vibrant, she's insightful, she's really that embodiment of energy and positivity that a lot of us need, right? And it's also like super infectious, right? And today she's here to guide us through her presentation, Success on Purpose, Setting Yourself Up to Win in 2025. And the Lunch and Learn really is designed to give us some tools, right? Some effective tools for reflection, meticulous action planning, smart goal setting. Um, Aleshia believes in the power of starting strong and staying strong. And she's crafted really today's presentation to help us kind of harness the fresh energy of the new year and channel it into some concrete plans and move forward with a clear vision. So, without further ado, please join me in giving Aleshia a big welcome. Take it away.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, David, for those beautiful, beautiful words. It is an absolute honor to be here, and I'm excited to give this presentation. So I did just want to give a little bit of a caveat. My Wi-Fi is acting a little wonky, so I am going to turn my camera off, but you'll still be able to hear my voice. It's just that I have a couple of videos, and sometimes having the screen on with video and the presentation, it just kind of lags everything. So I did just want to give that caveat. But without further ado, here we go. Hello, everyone. As David mentioned, my name is Aleshia Moyamba. I'm the Senior Marketing Operations Manager here for Provision Living. I've had the wonderful opportunity of working for this company. It'll be 6 years on March 11th. And nothing gets me more fired up, more excited than talking about productivity, purpose, and people. And so I've taken all three of those different items and put those together in this presentation. So one of the things is that many of us are still riding the high of the new year. It's typically a time filled with resolutions, goals, and commitments. But ultimately, that commitment is just to be better. This is the season where we vow to do better, feel better, and be better. And this workshop is designed to help you gain clarity and focus around all three. So let's talk about a couple of objectives. So by the time our time ends together, you will have more insights on how to define your path forward. So, creating meaningful, actionable goals for 2025 that align with your personal values and your vision for success. Reflect with purpose. So, exploring your experiences from 2024 to uncover valuable lessons for the year ahead. Staying on track with productivity strategies and mindset shifts to maintain discipline and consistency through 2025. And this is my favorite objective, moving from huh to hmm. So I think sometimes when we're giving presentations or we're in conversation with people, we try to get people to do a complete 180 to change their perspective. I think that's a whole lot of pressure. I'm always happy if I can take you from a huh to hmm, just meaning that I can kind of take you from a little bit of confusion, move you to kind of a space where you're considering everything that it is that we're talking about today. Also wanted to give a couple of items. If you have any questions, please add them to the chat. I have a wonderful individual, Cindy Etchelson, Supervisor, Director of Brand Experience. She's going to go through those chats because I can't see the chats right now. And then my goal is to actually answer those towards the end. And let's get started. So this presentation is broken down into three different frameworks. Past, which is all about reflection, present, which is about action, and then we have future, which is about creation and aspiration. So this is what I believe, that you cannot chart a path forward without first understanding where you've been. Reflection acts as your compass, but it isn't just about looking back. It's about using the past as a foundation for growth. By identifying patterns, celebrating wins, and acknowledging challenges, you equip yourself to move forward with clarity and purpose. Taking time to reflect is essential for intentional goal setting and success. It allows you to identify what's working, what's not, how to adjust, and setting yourself up to win in the year ahead. So sometimes when we think about our goals, it's really easy to feel overwhelmed because we have so many areas that we may want to focus on, such as money, health, and relationships. The challenge often isn't about identifying what's important, but figuring out where to put our energy first. So if you're thinking about just some areas of reflection, You may want to look at your money and finances and consider how have your financial habits influenced your overall financial situation? What's one decision you made that either helped or hindered your financial goals? For hobbies and creativity, think about the things that you've done last year and which ones brought you the most joy and which ones did you let fall by the wayside? What held you back from dedicating more time to them? Emotions and spirituality. Really sit and think about recent times or times from last year of stress and emotional challenges. And how did you manage those emotions? Did you rely on spiritual practices to cope? And how effective were they in providing peace or clarity? You also want to think about your learning and knowledge, which tends to be my favorite section, by the way. So, what's something new that you've learned over the past year, whether through formal education or self directed learning? Personal life and family. Were there moments where you felt particularly connected or distant from your loved ones? Health and fitness. What habits or routines have you successfully maintained? Which one did you struggle to keep up with? And why do you think that was? Friends and community. Which relationships felt the most supportive and enriching, and which ones may have felt neglected or unbalanced? Travel and culture. What impact did travel or cultural experiences have on you last year? And work in business. Think about your career. What achievements or setbacks stand out, and how did your goals and actions at work reflect your values and purpose? So it's just a couple ideas of reflections that we tend to that we can think about as we move forward. So now what I'm going to do is actually talk about different kinds of reflection methods. So many of us have our own personal idea of reflection methods, and every reflection method has its pros and its cons. For instance, we're going to start with the free flow method, also known as stream of consciousness. So, if you've ever heard of morning pages, and morning pages is literally when you wake up, you roll out of bed, and you journal. That's kind of the free flow method. And it promotes innovative thinking by allowing for flexibility and openness. It's easier to start with minimal stress, encouraging natural progress. So, it's low pressure. And it uncovers hidden patterns, and that leads to discovering new connections and insights. But with the free flow method, there are also some cons. It can actually lead to distraction and clear objectives with lack of focus because you're talking about actually what's just flowing out of your head. It's also time intensive, so results can take longer due to the lack of structure. And you can miss key areas. So important elements may be overlooked without a guided approach. It's literally you pick up your pen, your paper, your app, whatever the case may be, and you just go ahead and you write whatever is coming to your mind. You also have the this or that method. Now, this is for the folks that like to keep it, just really cut and dry. And so it's very simple and straightforward, easy to understand and implement, requiring minimal effort to make decisions. Did you do this or did you not do that? It also highlights contrast. So defines differences, making it easier to weigh alternatives and make quick decisions, and it's also quick and efficient. So think of it like a T chart where you're literally just talking about did you do this or did you do that? It's just very, very simple. It's not a whole lot of deep reflection involved. Is very, very top of mind. But it can also lead to binary thinking. So it forces a clear choice between two options, eliminating ambiguity. So there's no gray area when we're talking about the this or that method. And there's also limited depth. It doesn't allow for exploration beyond the two options, potentially missing nuanced perspectives, and it can feel negative. So the binary like nature or the linear nature may lead to an either or mentality that can feel limiting and overly critical. You also have a deep dive, and if you know me, then you probably know I'm a big fan of going deep. I also am a Scorpio, so water signs, water signs, water signs. So the deep dive, the pros, it is a comprehensive insight. So it's in-depth understanding, multiple perspectives, which can lead to better informed decisions. It's actionable feedback, so it delivers clear, specific feedback that can be immediately applied to improve outcomes, and it encourages growth. So it promotes self-awareness and continuous improvement through detailed input and reflection. But as much as I love the deep dive, there are also some cons to the deep dive reflection method. Gathering and processing feedback, and when we're talking about feedback, we're talking about your thoughts when you're doing your reflection. It takes more time compared to quicker methods. So also think about too, for every reflection method, where every area of your life that you want to reflect in, you are picking a reflection method. So some of them are quicker, some of them are shorter. So if you decide to do a deep dive on all 9 areas that we just talked about, it might be a little bit time consuming, and it can also be emotionally demanding. The in-depth nature of feedback can be overwhelming or hard to digest emotionally. And that is the case when you're doing any kind of reflection method. I think sometimes when we think about reflection and goal setting, I think anytime we're thinking about reflection and goal setting, it is important for us to give ourselves space for everything that comes up. And if we ever get to a point when we are processing those things that come up, making sure that we have the proper supports to really work our ways through them. So if you particularly had a demanding year the year before, making sure that you process that and have the additional supports that you need. So it can be emotionally demanding, like I said, especially if you had a rough year. And there's a risk of over analyzing. So detailed feedback may lead to overthinking, which can hinder progress or create doubt. Whatever reflection method you choose, it should answer the following questions. What went well? What actions led to positive outcomes? What strengths or strategies contributed to success? What didn't go well? What obstacles did you encounter? What could you have done differently? Where were you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially? And it's so important that we talk about all of those different areas, because so many of us think it's just about the goal, but there's all of this background and frameworks that have to happen behind the scenes for us to reach those goals. And if you were in a place where you mentally weren't at your best, or physically weren't at your best, or spiritually, emotionally, or any of those alleys, that can have a direct impact on whether or not you hit your goal. It may not have just been about competence. It may not have just been about money. It may have been where you were mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And then what supports did you have or not have in place? And were there any gaps in your supports? So let's talk about the present, which is all about action. We love action. So it's time to focus on where we're going, because we know where we've been. The present moment is where the work happens. Success is all about being intentional and focused. Every action, no matter how small, counts towards creating the future you desire. Stay committed and watch how your efforts shape your success. So there are a couple of things that we can do in the present moment, right? And a lot of the work that we're going to do is in the present moment. So the past was about the reflection. Present is about what are we doing? How are we putting our feet to the pavement to really keep it going? So first thing is you want to determine your goals and your aspirations. Clearly define what you want to achieve and create a vision for your success. And there are a couple of slides that are coming up that's going to show you how to do that. You also want to create a system for success. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of systems and processes and manuals and standard operating procedures and anything that could look like that. Because what I know is that for everything that you want to accomplish, you have to have a system set up designed for you to win, to achieve that goal. And then you want to identify a tracking method. You want to choose a method to track your progress, stay accountable, and make adjustments as necessary to stay on the course. So let's talk a little bit about that goal setting. So focus on 1 to 3 goals at a time. In the earlier slides, you saw about 9 to 12 different areas that we all could have some reflection in and that we all could potentially work on. But the fact of the matter is that when we focus on 1 to 3 key goals at a time, it prevents overwhelm and increases your chances of success. Focusing on fewer goals allows you to channel your energy and attention effectively. I'm a huge fan of mastering something before you move to the next thing. You also want to set goals aligned with your core values. Goals that are tied to your personal values are not only more motivating, but also more sustainable. When your goals resonate with what truly matters to you, you're more likely to stay committed and passionate about achieving them. And then, as always with goal setting, we want to break goals into smaller, actionable steps. When we divide our goals into smaller, manageable, actionable steps, it makes progress feel achievable and actually builds momentum. Each small action taken moves you closer to your larger goal, ensuring continued forward movement. One of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein is nothing happens unless something moves. So a lot of times when we're thinking about our goals, we want to think about these giant leaps, these giant steps, but it's really those small incremental micro wins that are going to help us get to where we want to be. So let's talk about systems for success. And before I talk about this slide, I want to let you know that this is a no judgment zone. Okay. So when we talk about something like auditing your life, which is taking a step back and evaluating your current routine, your habits, and priorities, when we conduct a life audit, it helps us identify areas of strength and areas that may need improvement to align with our goals. It's an opportunity to see where our time, energy, and resources are being spent and whether they're contributing to your vision for success. So, since this is a safe space, I may or may not every Wednesday watch Catfish followed by Help I'm in a Secret Relationship. And the thing is that it's not an issue if you're watching those shows or if you have your guilty pleasure shows or anything like that. But if you're auditing your life and you're like, I could really use 2 hours a day to really work on X, Y, and Z. And then you're auditing your life and you're like, I'm spending quite a few hours a month dedicated to MTV, to Catfish, and Help I'm in a Secret Relationship. So maybe you can use that time for whatever it is that you're trying to do, or find some other time to watch Catfish or Help I'm in a Secret Relationship. And I'm not endorsing that show. I just really love it. It's my guilty pleasure show. So you also want to identify your obstacles and your hurdles. And so I think when we do goal setting, we get so caught up on the outcomes. We get so caught up on the feeling that we're going to have when we do that, that we don't work our way backwards and say, what can actually stop me from getting there? And so when we identify obstacles early on, we can prepare strategies to overcome them and stay on track. This proactive approach allows us to be mentally and logistically prepared for setbacks, ensuring they don't become roadblocks to your success. And then again, implementing supports and tools. When we put systems, resources, and supports in place, we have what we need to succeed. It can be as simple as setting up a reminder on your phone, using productivity tools, or having a support network that kind of holds you accountable. These systems will help you stay organized and focused. Implementing the right tools not only increases efficiency, but it also provides the structure you need to maintain momentum and ensure success. So let's talk a little bit about goal setting methods. So many of us are familiar with SMART goals, which is specific. Your goal should be well defined, measurable. You can easily measure your progress, achievable. The goal should seem attainable and not impossible to achieve. Relevant, the goal should be in line with your current priorities. And timely, your goal should have a clearly defined timeline, including a start date or a target end date. So a smart version of a goal, because I'm a reader, is I will read 12 books this year, averaging 1 book per month. Okay. I now want to introduce you to the PACT method, which was developed by Nest Labs. And where SMART goals focuses on what you are trying to achieve, the PACT goals focus on what are you putting in to actually achieve it. So it has to be purposeful. Your goals should be meaningful to your long-term purpose in life, not just relevant to you right now. It should be actionable. A good goal is based on the outputs you can control. Your goal should be actionable and controllable. It's continuous. It's important that the actions you take towards your goal are simple and repeatable, and it's trackable. Have you done the thing or not? So, a packed version of a goal is I will build a continuous reading habit by reading for at least 20 minutes every day. SMART goals focuses on the outcomes. The PACT goals focuses on the outputs. And so you have to decide based on what your goals are, which goal setting or goal tracking method is what this should say, what goal tracking method it is that works best for you. And you may have to pivot and see what works best. So let's talk a little bit about motivation versus discipline. So, a lot of times what happens is that for some reason at 12:01 we all turn into the Incredible Hulk and we are ready to rock and roll. We have left the previous year behind. We have set some goals. We don't know if they necessarily have systems behind them, but we're excited about the goals. And so we have that spark. But then something happens. January comes, February comes, and then by the end of March, if we have not made any progress with that goal or started that goal, many of us feel like a failure. The motivation that we had on January 1st at 12:01 a.m. has absolutely dissipated. And then that's where the discipline comes in. So think of motivation as the spark. It's the initial drive that gets you started. It often comes from emotional inspiration or a strong desire to achieve something. It's frequently triggered by an external factor. Think about like a powerful speech, a vision board, significant life event, or also just the fact that you're starting fresh with a new year. And it fluctuates based on mood, energy levels, or circumstances, making it less reliable over the long term. But discipline, this is where the action kick in. Discipline is what keeps you going even when motivation fades. It's rooted in internal commitment and the development of consistent habits, regardless of emotions or external circumstances. It's driven by the intentional effort and long term focus. It's steady and it's reliable because it's about maintaining habits that support your goals, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Another item about discipline is that sometimes we think discipline is doing the thing every single day, but discipline is just about consistency and then how you bounce back if you just so happen to fall off. If you say you're going to work out 4 or 5 times a week, but you don't actually do it 4 or 5 days in a row, maybe it's every other day, or then maybe you get an injury and you just can't work out 4 or 5 days a week. If you can bounce back, then you are in a great discipline mindset. And that's what it's really about. So, when motivation and discipline wavers, what do we do? We want to revisit our why. We want to reflect on the deeper purpose behind the goal. Reconnecting with your why can reignite the spark and remind you of the long-term benefits of staying the course. You always want to break it down into smaller chunks. Simplify your goals, make them into manageable tasks to make progress feel more achievable, even when the energy is low. And then you want to create a routine. So when you establish a routine, you can reduce the reliance on motivation. Consistent small actions over time help you stay on track without the need for constant willpower. And you want to find accountability. So you want to connect with a friend, a colleague, or a mentor who can help keep you accountable. Sometimes just knowing that someone else is watching or supporting you can keep you moving forward. And then also, you want to celebrate the small wins along the way. And I was looking up an article and they were talking about the small wins. So many times we think about celebrating when we've reached a huge milestone, but celebrating small wins right away can actually lead to more consistency as well. So motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. And so I want to talk a little bit about the power of grace. So we're all human, life happens, we're not robots. And so grace is essential in goal setting because it allows us to navigate the ups and downs of our journey without judgment. And for so many of us, myself included, it's so easy to extend grace to others, but often we are our own harshest critics. Remember, we're human and life happens. It also fosters self compassion. So, grace encourages us to be kind towards ourselves, helping us embrace imperfections and avoid self criticism. It encourages resilience. So it's all about the bounce back from failure without giving up. It promotes flexibility. So life is unpredictable and goals may just need to be adjusted along the way. Grace gives us the ability to be flexible and make changes without feeling defeated or discouraged. And it can build inner peace by letting go of unrealistic expectations and accepting the ebbs and flow of progress. And it encourages gratitude. So allows us to focus on the positive aspect of our journey. So let me tell you a little bit about grace though. Grace is not an excuse to stop doing what you're doing. So many times we can say, yeah, I fell off here and I'm just going to give myself some grace, but we never get back to it. That's not the type of grace we're talking about. We're talking about the grace that is going to tell us the truth, but it's also going to motivate us to keep going. Yes, I fell off, but yes, I can get back to it. Yes, I didn't do X, Y, and Z, but I'm making this commitment to do A, B, C. That is the power of grace that we're talking about. We are not using grace as a crutch to not do what we were put here on this earth to do. So let's talk a little bit about future, aspiration, and creation. So as we reflect on the present and the systems that we've put in place, it's time to shift our focus to the future where creation and aspiration come into play. This is where we dream big and envision the life that we want to build. So, to help guide this process, I'm actually going to take us through a visualization exercise. So, wherever you are, if you are in a safe space to do so, I would like for you to close your eyes. And if you are not in a safe space, so not saying not in a safe space, but if you're not in a space where you can do this, you can do this with your eyes open as well. So, this visualization exercise is called Future You. So I would like for you to close your eyes and settle into a comfortable position. Take a deep breath in and out. Again, a deep breath in and out, slowly exhaling. Let go of any tension and bring your focus to the present moment. Now, imagine a soft, warm light surrounding you. This light is your energy, your potential, and your vision for the future. Let it guide you as we move forward in time. Picture a calendar in your mind, the pages turning as the months pass. January, spring, summer, autumn, and now it's December 31st, 2025. You've arrived at a moment of reflection and celebration. You're in a space that feels meaningful, maybe at home with loved ones or somewhere else significant. Notice the details of your surroundings, the colors, the sounds, and the atmosphere. Now think about your biggest accomplishment in 2025. What is it? What success are you celebrating? How do you feel knowing that you've worked with intention to achieve this? Imagine the pride, joy, and confidence radiating from within you. As you reflect on this accomplishment, think back on the choices you made this year. What habits or actions helped you get here? What mindset carried you forward? Feel the gratitude for the work you've done and the lessons you've learned. This is you living with your purpose, aligned with your vision. Take a deep breath in, holding the image of your future self. As you exhale, anchor this feeling into your heart. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes and open your eyes when you're ready, carrying the energy of your future self with you. So it's time for a little audience Q&A. If you participated in that visualization, what was the most vivid part of your vision for December 31st, 2025? And you can put your answers in the chat. And then Cindy, if you're there, could you kind of read out some of the responses? Because I can't see the chat.
Yes, I will.
What was the most vivid part of your vision for December 31st, 2025? You can also answer the question, what's one action you can take today to move closer to that vision?
I'll start reading. Graduation with my BS degree. Most vivid is a personal goal that I've started on 1/1 and can't wait to finally hit by the end of the year. Finalizing a nonprofit for work in Nigeria, working out more.
Mm.
My personal goal was prominent when I was out when I always expect my work goals to be first, felt joyful.
Joy. Mm-hmm. I love it. Thank you for sharing those responses, Cindy. As always, you can continue to put those your most vivid parts of your vision into the chat. You can also share the question, or answer the question, what's one thing that you can do today to help get there? So let's talk about visioning and aligning to the future. So it's important to remember that creation is an active process. We don't ever want to be passive participants in this thing called life. We also want to remember the importance of systems over willpower. Systems support willpower when it's waning. We always want to lean into the journey, the good, the bad, and everything in between. We want to set and reassess our SMART or PACT goals that we've set, because sometimes it isn't necessarily a matter of changing those goals. Sometimes it's changing the strategy that we get there, but goals are fluid. So it's important to make sure that we're reassessing them as well. You want to track your daily habits. Are you doing the things to actually support you? Are you using a habit tracker for key actions like writing 30 minutes daily, or meditating, or reading a book, or taking a class? You want to conduct a future alignment audit where you review your activities once a month and ask, does this bring me closer to my vision? And then you want to build accountability systems where you find a partner or community to share progress and get feedback regularly. So here's the thing. And David, I know you told me to do this, and I don't think I did this, where I turned my sound on. Let me see. Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yes, I followed instructions. Thank you. So, one of the things that I firmly believe is that your goals aren't just about you. When we accomplish our goals, we show others what's possible. And so, but sometimes what happens is that we're sitting on them. And for whatever reason, it could be fear, it could be doubt, it could be insecurity, it could be self talk, it could be what our mamas told us, what our daddies told us growing up, or anything like that. But the goals just aren't about you. So many times we think that, well, not even that we think, so many times it seems like the world is in shambles all of the time. But I firmly believe the more that we step into our divine given purpose, the more that we go ahead and we accomplish those goals, we end up creating little small ripple pools that can eventually make a big impact if we're all doing, if we're all doing what we have been put on this earth to do. And if you don't believe me, just believe, hit president.
Pep talk. The world needs you to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, aren't we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My pants broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there really were two paths? I want to be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing unless you dream stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, keep going, and keep going. Will Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. So he retired. Yeah, that's right. He retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. Because everybody's doing to give the world a reason to dance. So get to it.
All right. That is the end of the presentation. I hope everyone takes something away from them where they can show up and then they can dance. And I will open up the floor to some Q&As.
Aleshia, there was a question in the chat I can read off to you.
Oh, sweet. I can actually
Okay.
see them
Can
now,
you see?
but
Okay.
yeah, if you want to help me, it's a
Yeah.
lot of.
Sure. There's a couple. So David had asked, you talked about not doing everything at once, but focusing energy strategically. Do you have any recommendations on where to focus your energies among various life areas?
I think you have to think about impact and what kind of impact do you want that area to have in your life. If it's an area such as finances, you know that that's going to make an incredible change in your life, then that's probably where you could direct your energy. So when you're thinking about multiple areas, think about the energy and the impact that you want it to have and how much impact it could have if you focused in.
And then another question, will you be giving out this PowerPoint presentation after the call?
Yes. Yes, I will. Thank you.
I have a question as well, actually. So when you talk about the reflection methods, do you recommend to just do one, or is it okay to use all three or use two of them?
Yeah, you can use multiple different reflection methods. It's a combination of what works best for you, what area you're evaluating, and a little bit about just what works for you for the most part. So if you're naturally like a deep dive person like myself, that method may work best. But at the same time, if you tend to be kind of a black and white kind of person, no gray area, that deep dive may be good. It might kind of take you out of your comfort zone. Or if you're someone who tends to get kind of long-winded and you need to bring it back and have it in a truncated fashion. So it's a mixture of what works best for you. You have to know who you are. And then also, what are you trying to do with your reflection methods? But you can absolutely mix and match depending on the area of life that you're evaluating and all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the wonderful comments, everyone. Appreciate it.
There was another question too.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, from Alex. What's the difference between reflecting and dwelling on the past?
Oh, that is such a good question. So, reflection is about purpose and learning something from it. Dwelling is about sitting in it and just sitting in those emotions, but you're not necessarily learning from the growth. You're not learning from the pain. I was watching a show. So I used to make fun of my mama for watching HGTV and for for watching like the Magnolia Network and stuff, when I was younger. And I was watching a show called In with the Old. Long story short, they renovate old properties. And one of the quotes, and I have to pull up my notes app that came up in that the individual said was, someday this pain will be useful to you, it builds you. And so what she was saying was that she was reflecting on her ancestors' history because she ended up buying the land that her ancestors actually worked on, which is typically is unheard of. And so she reflected on the pain from her ancestors and reflected on what was happening in her family, and she learned from it versus sitting in it and just letting it fester and eat at your soul and not doing anything with it. So dwelling, you sit there, you don't learn anything from it, it's just there. And then reflection is about using it for growth and to evolve. Great question. All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate y'all.
I
Thank
have to,
you.
yeah, thank you. Absolutely wonderful. You did a great job, Aleshia. And first and foremost, this is an amazing presentation. And honestly, I think people use the word like masterclass when describing things, right? When you learned a bunch of stuff that is totally relevant. This was a masterclass in this presentation, and I appreciate that a lot. I think every word that you shared today resonated with somebody here, right? And you kind of gave us this blueprint and the inspiration to really take our goal setting to the next level. And I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. As we kind of wrap up today's session, just want to announce that our next Lunch and Learn, mark it on your calendars, it's going to be February 18th. And we are going to dive into, and I know you guys heard this before, the easy way to have hard conversations with Emily Ebner, who is our regional vice president. Obviously, for those that were with us a few months ago, Emily was going to present, and just because of certain things, we decided to push it back to February, and I'm so happy that we have, because now we get to revisit this. And this is the second part of our communication series, which is great. And so if anybody knows Emily, she's amazing at speaking, and she is wonderful at effective communication as well. So you don't really want to miss this one. Again, thank you everyone for coming to this Lunch and Learn. Make sure you're telling your team to show as well, and we'll see each other next month. Thank you so much. Take it easy. Bye, guys.